Poland's already hailing America's move to set up that military contingent on its soil. For more on this development and, of course, on Iran, let's talk to Dr. Gerald Horne. He's an American author and historian. He's on the line live from New York. Sir, thank you for being with us tonight. With this new US airbase in Poland and more Iran sanctions have been talking about on the way, what do you make of Barack Obama's first global moves as his new term kicks in then?
Well, I think it's very unfortunate, perhaps even more unfortunate, which went unmentioned in that previous report, is that he will be leaving in a few days for Burma, Myanmar, on his way also to Thailand and Cambodia. You may note that these are the neighbors of the People's Republic of China, and it's clear that the United States is pivoting towards Asia. Recall the base that was established in northern Australia some months ago. So this is all very ominous and very dangerous, particularly in light of the moves in Poland, which obviously brings into question the reset with Moscow, which had been touted so heavily by administration spokespersons. But if I were in Berlin, I would also be concerned because there is rising competition, particularly in Europe, between Berlin and Washington.
So what reaction do you think we're going to get from Moscow, and how's it going to complicate things with relations between the US, Poland, Russia, and the whole circle?
Well, if I were in Warsaw, I'd be very much concerned right now. Russia is a very powerful neighbor. It has many allies across the globe. It's a military power as well as an economic power in that part of the world. And quite frankly, it doesn't make that much sense for Warsaw to thumb its nose at such a powerful neighbor. And I would hope and imagine that there would be a reconsideration of their foreign policy sooner rather than later.
Do you think we'll see that reset button get pressed twice?
Well, let's hope so. It's clear that Washington is now turning its focus, first of all, to China and to a certain degree towards Iran, although keep in mind that because of the escalation of oil production in the United States itself through various techniques such as fracking and getting it from shale oil, S-H-A-L-E oil, there is a possibility that the United States will not be as dependent upon that part of the world for petroleum, which could lead to a reconsideration of its military empire in that part of the world. The problem, of course, is that the Israeli lobby is very potent in the United States of America. Israel has been making noises, as you well know, about attacking Iran. And if Israel does attack Iran, it will be very difficult for Washington to stand down. It will inevitably be dragged into that very dangerous conflict. And therefore, it makes sense not to escalate sanctions against Iran, but to engage in dialogue with Iran.
OK, and you think that's what we're going to see now after the elections, not further rhetoric about possible striking and warfare. We're going to see talks now the election's over, yeah?
Well, let us hope so. There was a report in the New York Times some weeks ago that said that already talks had commenced between Tehran and Washington. I should also note that there have been some very ominous reports in the U.S. press recently that suggest that the Stuxnet computer virus that was released in Iran, supposedly to destabilize the Iranian civilian nuclear facilities, has backfired and somehow has affected computer networks, not least in Chevron, the major U.S. oil giant. That shows the danger of this kind of tension and conflict with Iran. It can easily backfire, as this computer virus well shows.
And of course, as well, we're seeing Mr. Netanyahu on screen as you're speaking there. He wasn't a great backer, was he, of Obama? Now Obama's back in the White House. I wonder how that relationship's going to fare.
Well, obviously, Mr. Netanyahu is going to try to make nice belatedly with Mr. Obama. It's well known that Mr. Netanyahu was a former business partner of Mitt Romney, the Republican nominee for president. It's also well known that the relationship between Obama and Netanyahu was not very good at all. Not only that, but elections are coming up in Israel. And there might be a strong competitor against Mr. Netanyahu who will be running on a platform that Mr. Netanyahu has basically damaged the all-important relationship with Washington. Not only that, but the Palestinian Authority is going back to the United Nations seeking an enhanced status, which is also going to put Israel on the spot. So Mr. Netanyahu is obviously swimming in choppy waters, and it makes good sense for him to try to dial back the tension with Mr. Obama.
Really quick, last 30 seconds while we got you on the line. I wanted to ask you about that drone incident that was reported reported last week. Only today, Iran says it will deal decisively with any object violating its airspace, as it put it, after it was revealed, just bringing up to date our viewers, that Tehran shot at a US drone a few miles from its airspace last week. Was that a Washington mistake or Washington provocation, do you think, briefly?
Yes, I think it was a mistake. I think it was a provocation. The Iranians charged that the drone was over Iranian waters. Washington says they were international waters. In any case, there are many questions that need to be raised about this proliferation of drone warfare. It raises searching questions about international law and its applicability.
All right, thanks very much for being on the programme. Much appreciated. Author and historian Gerald Horne there. Thank you.